And I'm going to apologize right now. I have kids that will be coming through the door behind me during the next 30 minutes, and I hope they enter quietly.
Okay, we're good to go.
Okay. All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the October 19th Public Works Commission meeting. Before we dive into our agenda and call roll, I would like to let all the commissioners know, or those of you who do not know, that Mr. Andrew Brown, Andy, has resigned from our commission. So we wish him well and thank him for his service. And, you know, feel free to reach out to him via email or phone. And I had a nice discussion with Andy prior to his resignation. So, and with that, we have a new member of our commission. Mr. Mark Johnson joins us. He's coming from the Brenwick subdivision in Ward 4, and we welcome him to our commission. Mark, you just want to give a little wave so everyone. So someday we'll meet together and we can have, you know, pre-commission meeting discussions and greetings. But since we are coming live via Zoom, I'm going to go ahead now and jump right into our meeting. Mr. Randick, did you have the opportunity to take roll?
Or I did.
Okay, so
all members are present other than Commissioner Tarles. So we do have a quorum and we are ready to roll through the agenda.
Okay, great. So I trust everyone received their agenda and packet and have had ample time to review the minutes. And do we have any corrections or amendments to the minutes as written? Seeing none, do I have a motion to approve the minutes as written?
So got Tuckett as a first.
And
Pelican as a second.
Yep. Okay, the minutes for the August 17th Public Works.
All those in favor?
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed say nay. The ayes have it. The minutes are approved as written from the August 17th Public Works Commission meeting. We are now on to the topic of new business, items A through H. And we will take these line item by line item, even though A through G are contracts. And we'll open up with the first line item A, which is the on-call tree removal contract. Mr. Randick?
So this contract we haven't utilized in a few years. I think we did have it previously in 2010 or 11. But what this allows us is for any city tree on city property or right-of-way. We have solicited bids from tree service contractors to provide us pricing based on caliper of tree and associated costs for stump removal and tree trimming. We publicly bid this program, had a bid opening on September 24th. We received, I believe it was 3 bids. Look and see what I have here. 3 bids from Gamma Tree, Clipper Tree, and Timberline. And Gamma Tree was the lowest responsive bidder. So we are looking to enter into a contract which will allow us to expedite removal of dead or dying or hazardous trees on a quicker basis.
And Tim, has the city and Gamma, have we hired Gamma in the past to do work for our city and good, bad, and different experience?
Yes, we have. So Gamma currently provides our hazardous tree removal. So if we have storm damage and there is a hazardous condition, tree limbs, we utilize Gamma on an emergency contact basis. Gamma has also previously provided us bids and the service for branch chipping. There were a few years they were not the lowest bidder, but for several years they provided us the branch chipping service. And in both instances, the city has been very satisfied with the work performed by Gamma.
Okay, thank you.
Gamma's done a lot of work for a lot of years here. They've always done good for the city.
Further discussion? Seeing none, do I have a motion to approve? Tony, are you?
Yeah, I'm trying to unmute myself. I think, can you guys hear me?
Yep.
So, hey, Tim, I just wanted to ask you, you have this bid tabulation and it's basically an Excel spreadsheet with several columns. Did you ask them for the quantities, or how did you guys come up with those? Or is that just based on each tree that's 0 to 7 inches, you just came up with kind of a formula?
So what we requested from the contractors were the dollar amount for the caliber size tree. We did not provide them a quantity.
Okay.
We wanted to know what their price was per tree. Internally, through staff, we already predetermined approximately the number of trees that we removed annually based on the size. So we didn't want to provide that specific information to allow a contractor then to maybe, provide us skewed numbers based on the quantities that they may be coming into town to perform on. We just wanted a base cost of this size tree is going to cost you this much, and down the line. As you can see also further in that spreadsheet, we added honeysuckle removal. And you can see in that the quantity of square foot is 0, because we do not necessarily intend to utilize this contractor for that service, but we wanted a price in case we did need to utilize it. And we have several different avenues if we come across a need for that service, whether it's the grounds care contract, our on-call roadway, or now this tree removal service. And then we can see which entity would provide that best cost for us. But it's not a main component of this contract, which is why we set it at 0. We just wanted to get the number.
Okay, thank you.
Good question, Tony. Further discussion? Mark?
Unmuted, okay. Just curious, if this contract is let to Gamma, can others within the city, let's say subdivisions who need tree work, access it, use the same pricing, or is that strictly for something the city bills?
I mean, that's the pricing that they provided to us. This is a public document. So any subdivision can either get it off of our website or a Sunshine Request to see that Gamma is charging X number of dollars for X caliber of tree. They may also want to go through and see that Clipper is offering a different amount. Our assumption, though, too, and I would tell everybody to keep in mind, these tree services are likely expecting to have a certain quantity of trees throughout the year that they're going to have to remove for the city. So that pricing is probably a little better than what they would provide to a private subdivision that is going to have one tree at one point in time that they need to remove and not maybe utilize them again. So while the pricing is good for us, I would assume if a subdivision called them out, you could use it as reference and maybe use to negotiate, but the number that they're going to provide the private subdivision is going to be that number that they do. For
nothing automatic that it would be related to this bid or contract. Okay. Yeah. Just an idea.
Yeah.
Further discussion? Seeing none, do I have a motion to approve the contract? We have Tony approving, and do I have a second? Mark second. All those in favor say aye. The ayes have it. Okay, we are on to item number B, which is the on-call engineer contract.
So This is a continuation of the existing annual contract we have for on-call services. The professional services is for HR Green to provide as needed engineering services for the Public Works and the Development Department. Last year, we did not utilize the contract, did not have a need. This year, we've had one occurrence where we've had them provide us the on-call engineering services. So it's on an as-needed basis, and it's just in place so that, for instances, like currently where we don't have a public works director, if we need to utilize a professional engineer, we have that available to us.
What project, what category did you hire HR Green for this year? Was it storm? Was it road? Was it sidewalk?
It was development. So HR Green on this on-call service provided at our request a analysis of the Lock and Heath subdivision, as that developer was requesting substantial completion to release their letter of credit. So we had already, staff had already inspected the site and wanted an official report from an engineering service to then also provide them deficiencies that needed to be corrected.
Discussion for the commissioners on the contract. Seeing none. Do I have a motion to approve the engineering on-call contract? We have Tom and we have Dave as a second. All those in favor say aye. The ayes have it. The contract is approved. Okay, we are on to item C, which is on-call roadway contract.
On-call roadway maintenance. This is another continuation of an existing contract for on-call roadway maintenance, pothole repairs, culvert work, any repair work that's needed within city public right-of-ways or city properties for maintenance. This is again, an annual contract. As with most of these contracts, including this one, this is the third and final year for renewal. And then as of 2021, we will rebid all of these maintenance and annual contracts for the 2022 cycle.
Describe on-call.
So if the city requires service, either for curb work, pothole patching, or emergency response, say there's a massive sinkhole that opens up in the middle of Clayton that shuts down a lane of traffic, then they will respond immediately to address those issues to get us get a lane back open, get repair work done, and or just routine maintenance as well. So as on an as needed basis, if we, we typically like to try to get enough for a full day's work. If we have a pothole on, we'll say Heather Dane, which we know we won't because it's a brand new street. But we have a pothole there. We have some mill and patch over on Mason Valley. We have, some other asphalt work over on Clayton. We'll get a full day's work. We'll, basically kind of schedule out those spots, and then they'll come in and perform that work. You're on, Dave.
Have they not agreed to extend their pricing again this year at the same rates, Tim?
They have.
Yeah.
So these are the same rates from when we originally bid out in
2018.
2018.
Right.
So.
Further discussion? Seeing none,
Dave's trying to talk, but you're on mute,
Oh,
Dave. You have to
I'm
unmute
sorry.
yourself.
For your information, all you guys got to do is push the space bar. You unmute this long enough. It's like a push to talk switch in an airplane.
Oh, okay. Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Yes.
My question is, I'll have it right in front of me here, but is this a 24/7 response?
Yes.
Further discussion? Okay, I'm seeing none. Do I have a motion to approve the roadway maintenance on-call contract?
So moved.
Do I have a second? Bob Wonderlich seconds.
All right.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. The contract is approved. We are now on to the topic of grounds care contract, item D. Mr. Randick.
Okay. All right. So item D, on-call grounds care contract. Again, this is a third year of an annual contract that the city bid out for maintenance at all of its city properties, right-of-ways, and permitted areas that we maintain in the public right-of-way. The original contract amount was $124,999 prior to the addition of the maintenance of and beautification of I-64 in Mason. That added another $24,125 to the annual contract for grounds care. With the current budget and our analysis of areas that we could work to improve, staff has gone through the existing contract. We provided a modified scope to Greenwood Group and requested their review. And if they were interested in providing the modified services under the current contract. So if you go to, might be page 66, there is the bid tabulation for the 2020 grounds care with the annual total cost of $148,994 with the modified scope in the various areas that are listed out. We will now have a grounds care contract for 2021 in a total amount of $124,868. And the deductions per site are listed below. And this will be the final year of this contract extension. The entire contract will be bid out again next year for the 2022 service period.
Open for discussion. I'm
Tom, you're
Tom?
muted.
Yeah.
What page is the tabulation on?
So the tabulation of changes between 2020 and 2021 deductions should either be on page 66. I think it's 66, yeah.
Sorry. I'm gonna mute.
Tim, I was just saying, was there any issues over the past 3 years with them or 2 years?
No, we've been satisfied with their service and the work that they performed. What we were trying to do is find areas, of course, throughout all of our budgets of where we could maybe try to reduce some of our expenditures. So the main deductions that you'll see is the largest area is some of the mowing at, I believe it's Drace and Preservation Park. The cycles have been reduced. We're also reducing the cycles at Woods Mill and Salt Mill. And then some of the chemical treatments, we've gone through and reduced some of that as well. So just all an attempt to save costs.
Okay. Okay.
Further discussion? I'm trying to read lips to make sure I'm not missing anyone. Okay. Do I have a motion to approve the grounds care contract?
Move
Mr.
it.
Hutt?
I move it.
Good.
Okay. Bob moves, Dave second. Oh, wait, Tom, are you asking a
Whatever.
question?
No. I'd second if you need.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tim, do you have a first and a second name?
I got it.
All those in favor, please say aye.
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 The ayes have it. The contract is approved. We are now on to custodial services, item E. Mr. Randick.
Okay, another continuation of our annual contracts bid out in 2018 for custodial services. These services are provided Municipal Center, Firehouse, Longview Farm, Park House, Town Square, Drace, Preservation, Pavilions, and Restrooms. So this is, again, the final extension to an existing contract for 2019 and 2020 for a total contract amount of $35,724.
Discussion on the contract. I'm not seeing any. Do I have a motion to approve the contract as written?
Tuckett
Hey,
is
Tim?
first.
Go ahead.
Hey, I'm just looking at this. Explain this math on the itemized bid form. I'm looking at page 74,
Okay.
and I'm just looking at this some of this multiplication and wondering.
Oh, you're back muted.
No, I'm okay. I made a mistake mentally,
Okay.
which is not unusual.
Yeah, if it totals up to less than 35,000, let me know. We'll get it cheaper. But I can't. I don't think we can't even hire a full-time employee for that amount. So I still have Tuckett as a first. I guess if we're
right. That's what I was going to ask. Is that a motion to second, or is that a question? I'm sorry. You know what, Laura? I'm going to make an executive decision here to unmute everybody. It's not. I don't think we're being successful doing it that way. So, Dave and Tom, questions, or were you seconding?
Just seconding.
Okay. Thank
I
you.
have a question. I have a question.
Okay. Okay. Dave has a question.
Yeah, where does the finance committee figure in on this? We're spending money and so forth. How does that work? Where's their input?
So these contracts, being annual contracts, will not go to the Board of Aldermen until after Ways and Means have already made a recommendation, and the Board of Aldermen have first read the budget. So these will be, and again, most of the memos that you'll see list that funds will be included in the 2021 budget. Obviously, they have not been approved yet. So if for any reason the Ways and Means Commission makes a recommendation, or the Board of Aldermen through their budget process eliminates a service, then these contracts obviously will not be approved and will not go forward.
Right. So these will move forward into the 2021 budget off of Tim's sheets. And the Ways and Means will push it forward to the Board of Aldermen by ordinance in the month of November. We will have first review of it. And then also by ordinance, generally the Board of Aldermen approved the budget before December 31st. Now, if that does not happen, any invoice coming through starting January 1st, we have to approve item by item. So this is just the beginning of the conversation. So the board have not seen the detailed sheets to the 2021 budget as of yet.
Yeah, there's a lot of pieces, and we're just trying to get our portion of the puzzle in place so that when the board does their action, the dominoes kind of all fall at the same time, so to speak.
Does the city manager get involved in this?
The city administrator is involved in the budget process, and he does receive copies of the Public Works agenda. So he's aware of all the information that's going before this commission, and then that's in the budget.
And sits on the Ways and Means Commission. So yeah, so he sees our agenda, sits on the Ways and Means Commission, and then writes the cover letter to the budget and presents the budget to the Board of Aldermen.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I have a question on this contract.
Sure.
Not necessarily the contract, but just some of the breakout of costs. So if you go to page 78 of the PDF, have we used this company before, Tim? I'm just shocked that they're coming in at 35,000 or 36, whereas the next lowest bidder is 67, and then the highest bidder is 143,000.
Yes.
It boggles my mind how if we have a track record with these guys, you know, I guess I understand.
So we have they took over from Building Stars before I started. So Corvus has been doing the janitorial here probably 6, 7, maybe 8 years. And our bidding process, we do a pre-bid meeting with all the contractors. We walk through all the facilities. We have a list and a scope of work that we provide to each contractor. Then once bidding is completed, we have the bid tabulation. That's a public document. That pricing that Corvus supplied is almost identical to what was on their previous 3-year contract, or it increased slightly. And, you know, we obviously get calls from the other bidders that do not, you know, they think it's ridiculous, or they're like, this is not possible. And
that's what I'm thinking.
Corvus confirms every time we walk through the space. We know how much time it takes. We know what it's going to take to provide the service, and we're comfortable with our number.
Okay.
So
they're already doing it. There's a track record. If it's
they're currently, they've been doing it for years. So like we would come, you know, if they provided that number and they did it for a year and then came back and said, whoa, you know, we can't do it for this. We need 60,000. We'd kick them. We'd say, no, sorry. Hey, this is what you guys bid on. We can put it back out to bid, and then you can rebid it competitively, but you can't come in and lowball for the first year and then look for the city to make up for that in following years. So like I said,
what's the yellow line under 142,560?
So the highlighted number indicates a mathematical error from the written quote. So my bid tabulation is correct. Their bid tabulation that they submitted did not total that number. So I put the correct dollar amount in versus what their written contract or their written number was.
Okay, thanks for the explanation.
Yeah.
So I think it's a no-brainer I'll make a motion to approve.
Well, we already have a first from Tuckett.
Oh, okay, sorry, I'll second it.
Go ahead, Charlie, second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. The ayes have it.
Could I make a comment on that?
Yes.
The only thing I was going to say was the restrooms around town are always clean. I kind of comment, maybe I'm, you know, at Longview and at Town Square because I'll run or work, so I use them, and they're always very clean. So maybe I think that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Especially during the pandemic, you know, and keeping things clean while people are using. The Parks Department is doing, you know, a really solid job, trying to keep the playground equipments and all the park areas very sanitized and safe for the public. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Okay. Thank you. All right. We are on to item F, which is traffic signal maintenance contract.
Another continuation for an annual maintenance contract. This is for our on-call traffic signal maintenance. We have a few signals and devices in town, which we are responsible to maintain and upkeep. And this is for that on-call service as needed. This is the third and final year of the continuation of the contract and continuation of existing pricing.
It's a common trend in these contracts. So kudos to you, Mr. Randick.
That was one of the things I wanted to do when I kind of first got here, was to try to get them all on a somewhat consistent cycle. So try to get them to where we could lock in pricing for 3 years and then keep them all kind of consistent going out to bid, so what's that's going to tell you is next year I'm going to have a bunch of work I got to do, because they all have to be bid out and have to go through the process again. But
right.
Yeah, but you haven't been doing anything for 2 years.
That's
See,
right.
there you go.
Nailed it.
Further discussion on the traffic signal maintenance contract. Seeing none, we have a motion to approve.
So move.
Seconds? Do I have a second?
Second.
So we have Dave and Tom with your first and your second. And all those in favors, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. The ayes have it. Contract is approved. We are moving on to item G, which is the pavement striping contract.
So item G is not an annual contract, but it is a maintenance contract. The city bid out at the beginning of this year for pavement striping. Pavement striping was deferred in 2019, and due to COVID and budget restraints, it was deferred in 2020. America's Parking Remarking has agreed to hold their pricing for this year to do the work in 2021. So we will be doing citywide striping through this contract.
And so that is in the road fund budget for the 2021 year. Okay.
That's correct. The other connection or contract that will go in conjunction with this, but is not out yet, is 2021 crack sealing or joint sealing that is programmed in the 2021 budget. And for the 2021 crack sealing, our scheduled maintenance area is the main line. So your Clayton Road, Bope, Mason Ridge, Old Woods Mill, most of the streets that are striped is where we will be doing the crack sealing. So most of those striped lines will have tar that is jointed over or put over the top of the striping. So not only did we defer 19 and 20, and that striping is getting lighter or starting to fade, we'll also be coming through as part of our maintenance and resealing those joints. So the two kind of go hand in hand if you're doing the main line.
Right.
Further
The same company will be doing both?
No. So typically when we bid out crack sealing, America's Parking Remarking will only do the striping, and then we'll get various other bidders to bid on the crack sealing. Typically in previous cycles, Sweetens has been the lowest responsive contractor. So they are scheduled for Ward 1 to complete the work this year in 2020. And then we will bid out at the end of this year to do a spring late winter, early spring joint sealing on the main line, and that contractor is yet to be determined.
When will the Ward 1 sealing occur?
So that start date has not been set yet, but we are looking for dry and cold. So as soon as we get both of those, we'll get the contractor geared up to go.
November. Okay.
Yeah. Hopefully November, December. I mean, we had earlier, past few weeks, we had the great dry, but we didn't have cold. So we'll get into hopefully a little further into November and get some dry in with that cold, and then we'll get them in here and get them going.
Okay. Further discussion? Seeing none, do we have a motion to approve?
I'll move.
I'll make the motion.
I'll do Huff as a first and Chow as a second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Contract is approved. We are finished with our contract business, and now we are moving on to item H, material testing, Topping Road, engineering.
Yes, so the item H is a professional service agreement with Horner and Schifrin for construction engineering and material testing for the Topping Road STP Phase 1 project, which is a federally funded project. For federally funded projects, there is a requirement for material testing in association with those projects. And what this contract provides us is the construction engineering and material testing. They will be providing the daily inspection logs, quantity logs. They'll do the reporting, the employee wage rate interviews. There's a long list of requirements for federal projects, and similar to what was done on Clayton Road. And this is that engineering contract that is for construction.
And Tim, the city was awarded this grant in what year?
I believe we were awarded in 2018. We got the end of 2018. We were notified. We received funding. We began design in 2019, the preliminary design and our open houses, and then began right-of-way acquisition in 2020. So we're looking to try to get everything set up to begin and or complete construction in 2021.
To be completed in 2021. So the city, and a task force was involved with this, correct? And I guess that would be after we were awarded the grant. So this has been a project in motion for quite some time, and this is just one phase of it, with anticipated completion in 2021 for resurfacing the road and adding a pedestrian pathway from, call it Clayton, to around Kent Manor on Topping Road.
Yeah, that's correct.
Just to bring our commission up to speed, with Mark being new, I don't know if you want to add any more to the history there. The city originally applied for the grant, I think, as far back as 2012 or 13. So this is something the city's pursued for a number of years, and was identified as a priority from Parks and Trails to have a pedestrian component, and then from a public works standpoint, addressing the pavement on Topping Road. So I want to say probably close to 10 years ago, did a Nova chip surfacing over the roadway. But we've done mill and patch several times. Our subgrade and our base has got some areas that are failing, and to be proactive. This grant was applied for, again, for numerous years. Started out as 80-20, and we've
systematically kind of increased our contribution to be competitive in order to get the grant.
So what percentage of the total cost is covered by the grant?
Currently it's a 50-50 grant. So 50% of the cost is reimbursed by the federal government, and then the other 50% is local funds.
So if I remember from looking at the budget, this was a pretty big line item, something like $4 million, $5 million.
Not that extent. So the construction's roughly around 1.5. Right of way is probably slightly over 100,000, and then design is about between 2 and 250. So total cost is, I'd say, maybe about 1.8 million total cost.
Maybe Mark, you looked at something with the entire length, phase 1 and phase 2 combined, and we're just speaking to phase 1 with regard to this line item, okay, which hits approximately the 1.8 million. So phase 2 is not something we're addressing today or in next year's budget. Is that fair, Tim?
Yes, that's correct. Yep.
And the grant is only for phase 1?
Correct.
Correct.
Yeah, phase 2 will have to be funded 100% locally.
Right.
And I know we're getting off topic with this question, but from phase 2, we don't even have the necessary easements, correct?
So we haven't completed the preliminary design to determine what or if we need easements on the second phase. So prior to that, our next step on phase 2 would be to reallocate the engineering funds for design to determine what that design is and what the impacts may or may not be to private property versus being in the public right of way. And then we would be able to determine what and if we need right of way acquisition on phase 2.
Okay.
Further discussion regarding the engineering.
Pam?
Yeah.
As a former officer and employee of Harder and Schifrin, I am going to abstain from this vote.
Okay.
Thank you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's sufficient though, Tim, as far as quorum and all. Okay.
Right.
That's correct.
Okay. Further discussion? I'm seeing none. Do we have a motion to approve the engineering for Topping Road?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second. Whatever. I'll second too.
Okay.
All those in favor, please.
Aye.
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 The ayes have it, Tim.
Yeah, so I have all commission members in favor other than Commissioner Tuckett, who abstained.
Correct. Okay, and now we are on to old business, and I do not have any old business on my agenda. So we're now on to the discussion, item 6, and I just wanted to mention under discussion that I wanted everyone to anticipate meeting again in November, on November 16th at 4:30 via Zoom. And we have several code amendments that we will be bringing forward. It's not new codes, it's amending codes, just cleaning up language regarding landfill, drainage of pool, hours of construction, and a couple other things might pop up between now and then. And that is all I have. Tim, do you have anything else to add?
I do not.
I got another question.
Sure. Dave, you have the floor.
What's the status on the intersection of Clayton and Ballas?
There is no change in status currently. We are basically against a deadline of November 1st for federal funds either need to be allocated or released. We have a request and information into St. Louis County, looking for them to possibly continue on with those fundings, but we have not gotten a response back as of yet.
I asked the question for the benefit of our new members.
Yeah. So as of November 1st, the city will either need to withdraw construction funds or request to reapply for construction funds for next year. And we are working through that process with St. Louis County and hope to have an answer soon because we don't have much time left.
So we can provide another update on the 16th at our meeting.
Yeah.
That's our current biggest project with the county, right?
So we have 3 projects in process with St. Louis County. We have the Clayton and Ballas intersection, which was a cooperative effort. We have Mason from Clayton Road to I-64 that is currently in design through a federal grant, and that is also a cooperative effort. And then our last section of Mason South, basically between Kings Glen and just north of Weston Park, is in permitting review, which is a city standalone project. So those are the 3 that we currently have.
What's the status on 141 Clayton intersection?
So we did a traffic study that we provided to MoDOT and St. Louis County. And there is been positive feedback from the business community. But the city would, again, through that traffic study, support any improvements in that area. It is not our controlled intersection. So while we would support it, and I don't know to what extent we would contribute to it, I think it's been determined that that would be something MoDOT would have to kind of carry the water on, and I'm not sure if that's something they have in their long range plan as of yet.
Who provides the impetus on that? Is that our job, or is that the people who are involved? In other words, the business owners.
I think so. The business owners, as well as the city, all contributed to the traffic the funding of the traffic study to provide some conceptual designs or options on what could be done in the area. But I think probably at this juncture with the financial impacts COVID has had on every entity, every business, what has been anticipated as a potential $10 million project, and that's a back of napkin kind of number. I don't think anyone has really pursued taking that monster on at this moment.
Right.
Thanks for the update.
Yep.
I would like to apologize to Mr. Huff for not introducing him as our vice chairman of our commission to Mr. Johnson. And I appreciate all your questions, and that helps bring Mark up to speed on some of the things we discuss and talk about. So thank you. Thank you, Dave, for those questions.
Great. You're welcome.
Further, go
and
ahead.
I was going to say, just to add on to Dave's question of whose responsibility is it, or who should carry the water for Clayton and 141. I think that the city as a whole, while we want to improve our community, we also understand that we need to focus our infrastructure on the current things that we own and make sure that those are at a high level. And we would obviously support St. Louis County, MoDOT, the business owners in any venture that they wish to pursue. To what degree, that would be something that the board would have to determine. But obviously, we want to improve our community. We also want to be, conscientious of our streets, our infrastructure, and the dollars that we put into it as well. So,
what is the issue with 141 in Clayton?
So you have,
I think in a word, safety. It's a very interesting intersection, especially when you turn on. So go ahead, Tim. I think it's safety though. Yeah,
you have some challenges with different speeds coming off of Woods Mill and 141 to combine close to the McDonald's. So you have a 35 mile an hour and a 45 mile an hour that converge. So you have some issues with safety travel, the comfort of that travel, the intersection of Clayton and Woods Mill is also a combination of MoDOT and then a little bit past it, St. Louis County controlled intersection. They have a free right at that turn, so there's some passive movements during traffic that cars will allow a passive turn that then ends up having somebody 2 or 3 lanes deep not see it and then create an accident. So we're looking at safety, looking at conveyance, allowing access into our commercial developments more freely for improved retail. So just a number of different boxes that need to be checked in that area.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, everyone. If that's it for questions and comments, I will call for a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that
motion.
Second.
Moved. Okay.
You have the first and second. All of those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, everybody. Thank you so much, and we'll see you on November 16th.
All right, thank you.
Thank
you.